Welcome into Tips for Gamers. Let's see if we can get this video to 200 likes, guys, to see if you have what it takes. We're going to be talking about power backs and elusive backs, which is better for Madden 23. Well, this is going to also depend on whether you're in simulation or user play. And we're going to talk about both these today. So we want to thank all of you for supporting our site and our YouTube channel. If you guys support both our YouTube channels as well. And we want to tell you guys, imagine what the best version of yourself looks like. Imagine it. Envision how you talk, how you dress, how you act in tough or stressful situations, and what are your goals. Think about how those around you look at you, and if they can rely on you. Life is a game, and you could be the best at it if you just take it step by step. A goal is like a staircase. Think of what the first step is to accomplish your goal. Take that step, then focus on the next step. Eventually, you'll be at the top of the staircase, and your goal will be within reach. Don't focus on all the stairs or you'll shy away from the goal. Don't let them just become daydreams. So let's break down first the best halfback archetype for user play. No matter what the year is of the Madden that you are playing, speed is going to always be a major benefit. Hands down. Winning a foot race is much harder to do than it is to juke a player out or break a tackle. Even players with little break tackle can still break a tackle. One thing a power back cannot do is outrun people. That's just not there. A speed guy can break a tackle, a power back can't outrun people who are faster than him. It's just the name of the game. Speed is one of the hardest attributes to upgrade, while upgrading a player's break tackle is much more feasible. It still won't be easy, however, trying to upgrade a player's speed by 5 points compared to his break tackle is night and day. I think all of you guys can agree with that. Madden is getting slower and slower as the years progress. This even includes turning down the speed threshold sliders to 0. The sad fact is we are facing as a community. They want everyone to play this game. They're trying to make this game commercialized to the nth degree, and slowing it down is the best way at accomplishing that. They're not leaving it to where it's extremely fast. They've gotten away from in-game speed, from slow to normal to very fast to very fast. They're just getting rid of it all entirely, and now the game is just turning into molasses. If you go play Madden 12, the game was much faster than it is now. And the game is going to continue to slow down until everyone can play and it's to their speed. And that is why we either recommend a balanced halfback or a true burner at the tailback position for user play. More wide receivers are moving from wide receiver to halfback in the league, or at least being a flex position. This isn't a philosophy that is going to slow down anytime soon. It is likely going to speed up in the next 5 or 10 years. Speed is feared by all. Big bruisers are more of an annoyance. Speed guys are just flat out scary. The only thing that you have to take into consideration is your running back's COD rating for user play. There could be plenty of fast players that can play halfback, but if they don't have an almost 90 COD rating or up to that range, they won't be worth much. It's just the sad fact reality. Speed means something when COD is in place. Also, something you have to think about is the obvious ones is injury and stamina. If he doesn't have a high injury and stamina in the upper 80s, that's what we'd recommend. Be careful running him 30 times a game, especially if he has a big price tag connected with his name. Good agility, and I know we're talking about speed as a whole, but good agility in this Madden means more than it has in past years. Blockers seem to be getting worse as the years go on in Madden, so agility is very important. It really is. Blockers are just turning into absolute trash. So to break this down, if you can get a balanced guy, that's great. But you're looking 94 speed is really good. Okay, it's really good. Upper, 94 across the board is really what you want to get. You can even get guys like Cook from the Vikings who has a 95 agility, right? So he still is a little bit of a power back, but he's still fast at the same time. He's got his COD in the 90s, and he's a solid halfback. You could go with a guy like that. He's not necessarily a speed back, but that's still better than getting a guy who's incredibly slow. He's going to still feel somewhat fast, okay? And then make sure your COD rating is high. Carrying is big, but carrying is not something you need to hang your hat on. Your running back will get it over time, all right? That's something you got to think about. So to wrap that up, it's pretty simple. Look for speed. The faster, the better. You can move wide receivers to halfbacks. Look at our switches, our position switches from halfback to wide receiver, and you're going to find plenty of them. Now, the thing that you're going to find with speed, just to cap this off and move on to the next segment, which is the simulation running backs. We ran the exact same play in 5-minute quarters in all Madden. The exact same play. Okay, the entire time. And we actually ran it with Dalvin Cook in a game prior, and we ran it with Williams as well. Now, these aren't the only running backs that we've done this with, but we're going to give you a small sample here. So with Williams and Dalvin Cook in the trenches, you're going to find that they're very equal feeling, right? They feel the same because their COD ratings are quite similar and their agility ratings are similar. Actually, Cook has one agility higher than Williams. So that's what makes Cook a very comfortable back when you're playing with him. However, once they break out of that and they're in a straightaway, that's when you'll notice the difference between Williams and Cook. Now, we did have the speed threshold set 2-0, and, we didn't pass that much. We only passed 9 times total. For 172 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. And those were like when it was like 4th down. And it was like, oh, crap. I got to get the first so we can run more. And that was it. I mean, I got to say, all Madden is still broken. It's just ridiculously stupid. You can run the exact same plays and just destroy it. That is why, too, Madden wanted people to not keep running the exact same plays because the game is still somewhat broken. I mean, it is. It's just the way it is. And blocking is terrible. I will have to say that. However, that's what you're going to notice with speed. So when you look at speed and you're trying to break down a guy, how they feel, understand the agility is in the trenches. And then once you get past that, you get to the second level and you're on a straightaway. That's when you're going to notice the acceleration and more of the speed going in and out of those running backs. All right, so finding the best halfback archetype for simulation leagues, it's really also dependent on what type of simulation you're running. If you're just doing fast sim the entire time, you can be a little bit more lenient on the types of backs that you bring in, but still, at the end of the day, you got to think about it in simulation. Running backs are very straightforward thinkers, and I mean that literally. They literally will run straight into a meat pile, particularly in slow sim. And I'm sure you guys have seen it. There'll be a wide open hole to the right. It'll be a huge hole, screaming his name, and he'll run straight into a meat pile instead of just 2 steps to the left or right and then have a big hole. Okay, so that's what they love to do. The ball carry vision in simulation is dummied down to the nth degree. They could have a 99 ball carry vision, and they're just not going to do much with it. That's just the name of the game when it comes to slow sim. So my philosophy on this, and the more testing that we've done, is if my guy is going to run straight, okay, and I need to get first downs, my best ability to do that is to actually use a power back. Okay, and I'm not talking the power backs that are just pure 83 speed, giant 295 pound, even though those guys don't really exist. But you get my gist. And they just run, like molasses, but it's like a rock running down the hill, rolling down the hill. I'm not talking those guys. I'm talking a guy who is basically a hybrid. Okay, you're looking at guys that are like even possibly your Josh Jacobs type players, those guys who have a little bit extra speed, and 90 speed is the cutoff of what I'm looking for, and that are just big bruisers. I want a guy to elbow another dude in the teeth dang near to get that first down. That's what I'm looking for. Now, some people may be wondering, well, you've recommended in your best playbooks and schemes vertical zone run. Well, now you're recommending a power back. Yes, but that doesn't mean you have to actually change your vertical zone run into a vertical power run. That's not what you have to do, because if you go to your head coach, and we show you guys this on how to upgrade your head coach, if you upgrade the final piece, you can get points very quick, staff points very quick, and upgrade to the final piece. All players on your team count as scheme fits during training. Okay, put your running back in the weekly training. The other huge aspect of what we want you to think about on this is you want that 90 speed threshold, right? If you can find a power back that has some decent hands at all, then he can even be your third down back as well, not just your power halfback and your first and second down halfback. He's an all down back. Okay, and that's rolling XP. Now, some of you may be going, well, how do you get that running back? That sounds great, Dodds. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's pretty simple. You got to look at our How to Scout and Draft Superstar X Factor players in Madden 23. We show you what to look for. You can find these power halfbacks that, you know, are not just power halfbacks. I don't want you to have tunnel vision where you go into the draft and you look at the draft and just see power halfback archetypes and say, I got to go with that guy. So you're going to come across an elusive halfback that's 1 point off from being a balanced power back. You know, half elusive back, power back hybrid. He's 1 point off. He may be a 75 elusive back, 74 power back. So don't just have tunnel vision in the draft and look at just power backs. Learn to read the draft, and then you will find really good players. Okay, so those guys are definitely out there. All right, we don't want you to get the slow power backs. It's not what you want. And COD is not going to be something that you have to rely heavily on either. Because COD, if you're looking at the low 80s, that's fine for a really good power halfback. But obviously, the higher the better, even though, you know, it's tough for them to actually use that because they don't, for the most part, they just love to run straight. But still, you want to have it because it gives your back the best ability. If he does take 2 steps left, you know, it's a big thing there, and that's pretty brilliant. Now, with our best playbooks and schemes that we've recommended the vertical zone run. And if you haven't seen our best playbooks and schemes, we get a lot of comments from those asking what playbooks and schemes we use. You want to check out our best playbooks and schemes video. It'll pop up in the top right corner of your screen. Now, we always recommend the vertical zone run. It has the strong arm archetype quarterback, elusive back, blocking fullback, deep threat wide receiver, vertical threat tight end, pass blocking, pass protector, left tackle, agile lineman across the board. Okay, so some people may say, well, now I want to switch it to a vertical power run since you're recommending a vertical power run. Now, that's not what we recommend. You can do that, sure, but there's no point to change your entire scheme of your offense for one guy. Unless it's your quarterback, that's not the guy. A halfback is not the guy to do it with, okay? Because what really changes here is obviously your power halfback or your power back archetype changes from obviously the elusive back to a power back, and then your lineman change. You get 2 pass protectors. Your right tackle goes from an agile to a pass protector, and then the rest of your interior line goes from agile lineman to power lineman, and that is just more difficult. Those linemen are good, but they're not necessarily my favorite right at this moment. Now, we're going to do more testing with them as well, but I've had great success with agile linemen. I've kept that going because I've beaten a lot of really great teams with those type of linemen, and I just have more success. And so I enjoy those linemen a lot, and they're easy to get. There's a lot of them. Okay, pass protectors are your cream of the crop. They're your top guys, and they're just harder to get because they're the guys that are protecting your $500 million quarterback. So you got to think of it that way. That's why the pass protectors get paid the elite money, and there's just not as many of them in the NFL compared to these big power bruisers out there. And then you have your agile guys as well. Okay, so this is what we recommend here. Enjoy the glory, become your best self, and light it up.